Is it news?
Corleone is a man who insists on hearing bad news immediately.
Or just noise?
Are you going to act like this is news? Just noise. This is noise.
Let's separate the impactful from the insignificant with one simple question. News or noise?
Ooh, let's do it. Lots to get into. And we will start with the big news coming out of the NFL yesterday that Deshaun Watson will have season-ending surgery on his throwing shoulder as a fracture in his glenoid bone. And with that, Michael, he spoke to the media after the announcement came out. Here's a snippet of his discussion with reporters yesterday.
I'm still in disbelief. I'm still, I said, just trying to process all the information that I've been getting since last night. It's tough. I've felt like we were turning a corner to really make a run, and I still believe we still will. With the guys in this locker room. I just wanted to be physically a part of it, on the field with those guys, and 6 weeks I was down and try to come back, and then 2 weeks later I'm back at it again. So yeah, it's tough to try to wrap everything around my head right now.
So let's start there, Michael. News or noise, do you agree that even without Watson on the team, that the Browns can have turned a corner and can make a run?
I think they can make the playoffs. Do I think they can go far in the playoffs? No. But they have an easy schedule. And whenever you are good on defense, Stormy, and you're great on defense, and you can eliminate one aspect of an offensive game plan, which is the run game, which Cleveland can do, you've got a chance. Now, look, they can't turn this ball over, right? I mean, they can't go in and play Pittsburgh and have Thompson Robinson just turn it over, right? You got to be able to handle it to where, you're giving him a chance to make plays, but you're also relying on your run game. Kind of what they've done with Watson, in all honesty. I mean, we're all talking about how good Watson played, right, last week, and he did play well, right? He did play well, but it wasn't like he was throwing the ball and firing it all over the lot. He had 14 completions in the second half, but they still ran the ball very effectively. I mean, Stormy, they ran for 178. They threw for 195. So Thompson Robinson, he's got to do that. He can't try to win the game. He has to make sure he doesn't lose the game. That's the key, because this defense is the number one defense on third down. They're going to get you the ball back, right? They're going to play really good in the red zone, and they're going to turn the ball over. And so, look, just let the game come to you. And if you've got a punt, who cares? Really, who cares? And so as long as you can do that, they have a chance. Yeah, they do. But it's hard. That's easier. This is all the Jets should be doing. But that's easier said than done.
And we talked about this yesterday, that Dorian Thompson Robinson and what the Browns saw from him in the preseason is why they felt okay with letting Josh Dobbs go. And their general manager, Andrew Berry, when he was speaking to media yesterday, he said that he feels good about the two quarterbacks that they have in DTR and PJ Watt why can't I think of his last? PJ Walker. I was about to say Watson. I've got Deshaun on the brain, obviously. But he said he feels good about them. They might add a third quarterback at some point. Do you think if they do bring in a third, it's another just depth piece to have behind them? Or is it a bigger name that they try to go out and get, given the defense that they have and trying to make a push?
I don't think they can, because if they bring in somebody who's got stature, it's going to take everything away from Thompson Robinson, right? And so they're better off just trying to find somebody that they feel like they can do the best, they can handle the best, right? That they can get, through the game. Look, he played well enough in the preseason that clearly they had a meeting. And in that meeting, and I can't prove this, but I've been in enough of these meetings to know, look, we got this young kid. He's a fifth rounder. He played really well. He threw 2 touchdown passes. He averaged 7.6 yards per attempt this summer. He ran the ball for 63 yards on 14 rushes. We've got a really good player here. There's no sense in keeping Dobbs. If we get a draft pick, they got to own up to what they decided. They got to put him on the field, because P.J. Walker, we're not going anywhere with him. They got to hope he gets better. And what Stefanski said is true. Look, if we get him a full week of practice, he'll get better.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point, too, because I'm pretty sure the last time, the one start that we saw from Dorian Thompson Robinson, there was still the expectation all week long, right, that Deshaun Watson was going to be well enough to go,
right,
and then he wasn't. So he was put in kind of a tough situation this week. He knows he's going to be the guy. He's going to get those reps with the first teamers. He's going to get that opportunity. So right now, Cleveland is a 1-point favorite against the Steelers in that game. We'll see if we end up getting a line flip, which we could as we get closer to game time on Sunday. Now let's go to your boy, Brandon Staley, everybody's favorite defensive mind in the National Football League. He obviously, this team is coming off one of their worst defensive performances in his tenure with the Chargers. Yet he has said and made it clear that he is not giving up play calling duties. He said, quote, "We believe in how we play and we believe in the guys we're playing with. We're going to make adjustments throughout the year, but nothing significant. I think if you feel it gives you the best chance to win, or you think you can spark your team or something, people do that. We don't feel like that's the direction we're going to take." News or noise, Staley's not giving up play calling.
Well, I think it's news because what he said, he obviously he reacted to it, and what he said is he still runs the defense. So this whole notion that somebody's going to pass it on, Thomas Brown's taken over the play calling from Frank Reich. Well, it's Frank Reich's offense. Like taking over the play calling from Staley, what's that going to do? He's the head coach. He's going to be in the headphones saying, "Don't run that, run this." Like it's such such noise. But we make it into news because it actually does highlight a bigger problem, which is really where the noise is. Are they good enough on defense? Whoever calls it, are they good enough on defense? That's the question. And I think that's where he's been lying to himself for a while because they haven't been good. They haven't been a good defensive team since he's been there. Mm-hmm. He's yet to be – he got hired to be a defensive specialist. And what were we complaining about last year? Their defense. This year, they're 24th in points allowed. They're 31st in yards allowed. The only thing they've done better this year than last year is they've stopped the run. I mean, last year they couldn't stop anything either. They were 21st in points scored against them. They were 32nd in yards per attempt rushing, and they were 20th in passing yards allowed. So, they haven't ever been any good on defense, no matter how much money and who calls the plays.
It's like, good job that you're able to stop the run, but you're still the worst pass defense in the NFL, so bad that you're still 31st in total yards allowed per game. And they've had 2 games this year, Michael, where they've given up more than 500 total yards in a game. Last week, and of course, the earlier season matchup with the Miami Dolphins. And they're losing games when they're scoring 30 points.
Yeah. Well, that's been the case. If you look at the splits of Herbert, is splits when they score 24, when they give up over 24, and when they give up under 24. And Herbert's just an average quarterback when they give up over 24. He's not very good. And they can't win a close game. I mean, they cannot win a close game. And a lot of this is because they can't stop. Again, let's go back to the original conversation. They never can get his entire time as a head coach. They've never been able to get control of a game. They can score and they can play a track meet and they can beat you, but they never can get control of the game because they're never good enough on defense to do that. San Francisco, they get control of the game. Philly, they can control the game. Kansas City, they control the game, right? Miami's going to be able to do that down the road. When you can control the game with your defense, you become a dangerous team. That's why the Chargers are never going anywhere.
An opportunity against Green Bay to potentially control a game this week in a 3-point spread. We'll see if they can do it, though, because they have yet to prove
you lay in the 3. You lay in the 3. Are you going to lay the 3?
Don't lead me there. Don't lead me there.
I know you weren't going to do it.
You mentioned that the Frank Reich play calling, him taking it back over from Thomas Brown, is noise. What kind of an impact do you think that this taking back of the play calling will have on Thomas Brown in the future?
Well, I think Thomas Brown want to get out of there. I think everybody wants to get out of there. I think they all realize that they were hired to fix the offense, and it's been a disaster. And their owner's embarrassed. I mean, let's face it, their owner's embarrassed. He's now getting called on the carpet. He's the one getting blamed for everything. You picked Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud. As if he was the only one in the room. I mean, this is not good for owners. This is not good. I think he made a horrible hire. I said it this summer that their offense wasn't good this summer, that their fundamentals, their base, their technique, everything was bad about their team. Everything. And I'm not second guessing. I said it in the summer. They looked bad. They couldn't protect the quarterback in the preseason. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting watching this team, Michael, because I feel like, especially because we had high hopes for Bryce Young coming into the year, it feels like watching him
still do.
Behind that offensive line, and because of the situation he's in, he's regressing and taking steps back, not because of him, but because of the surroundings.
Yeah, they don't do anything to help him. They just run plays. They're just, okay, you make a play. Like, there's no physicality. I mean, this is a team that gained 350 yards rushing against the Detroit Lions last year. Right? You would think that if they could run the ball that effectively against a good team, you could run the ball better. They can't even run the ball.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.